Chapter 23. It's all about the consciousness, baby. Ace headquarters. The main platform is alive with activity as usual. Ace are in full swing as they scurry from station to station, discussing and organising and pointing at maps and high-profile players in the world on laptop screens. They seem irrepressible, relentless, busy little terrorists. Jameson enters the platform and soon spots Ace, studying some information on a laptop screen with one of his crew. He paces over.
Ace, we have to talk.
Ace turns to see Jameson.
It's alive!
Very funny.
Hate to tell you this, kid, but you look like shit. Like you've been raped by a rhino. Like death warmed up.
Yeah, well, when you're surrounded by so much death, it can seep into you.
Jameson smiles. Ace sighs.
Melodramatic much? We're always surrounded by death. Death is as much our lives as it is living. We're shielded from it as children, blinkered by our youth. When we get this strange notion that we're invincible, that we will last forever, but then death shows up and gatecrashes your delusion of immortality. It shatters your ignorance to the suffering of death, all around you, constantly.
Look, I didn't come here for another one of your screwball sermons. We need to talk.
Ace sighs again.
No, I'm guessing you need to talk. But I do love these little talks. I think they're good for us. I really do.
Jameson looks at the bemused girl at the workstation.
Somewhere private?
Somewhere.
Ace grins, with a sparkle in his eye as he does an impressive Captain Kirk impersonation.
Private, you say? You should have given me more warning. I could have washed my balls.
The girl at the workstation laughs out loud. Even Jameson fights a smile.
Do you ever stop?
He says, with a wild look in his eyes.
I mean, you're just so...
For God's sakes, Jim.
Ace croaks, now portraying Dr. McCoy.
I'm an activist, not a terrorist.
The girl laughs louder.
Can we just go somewhere and...
Jameson says loudly as he begins to lose his temper.
I just can't do that, Captain.
Scotty interrupts.
Oh, why not just do the whole cast? Next Generation and Deep Space 8 and all the rest while you're at it.
Jameson yells. The girl and Ace freeze, shocked at his outburst.
It's not like there isn't some real serious shit to discuss.
Jameson continues, in full rant mode.
But no, we have to play another one of your self-gratifying games. Well, fuck Star Trek, Kirk, Bones, Scotty, and fuck Spock too.
The platform is still and quiet for a moment as everyone stares at Jameson. They soon return to their activities.
Spock.
Ace says, feigning exasperation, trying not to smile.
What has he ever done to you?
Well, nothing, obviously.
I didn't even do, Spock.
I know, but fuck him anyway.
But fuck him anyway?
Well, not but.
Well, I'm sure old Leonard wouldn't mind you digging him up and having a go at the dry hard shove. But think of the fans, the outrage.
The girl laughs out loud again.
And 9.
Ace says. Jameson shrugs, confused.
Is that supposed to be a sentence? Or am I supposed to make sense of that? Or...
It's Deep Space 9, not 8. But that's what twists my nipples about you. Your attention to detail.
Ace informs him, with an infuriatingly smug grin as Jameson boils inside his flushed hot skin. Jameson tries to regain some composure.
Okay,
He says, quiet and barely contained, as he painfully represses his frustration.
I can see you've had one too many coffees this morning. Morning? Evening? I don't even know what time it is, day it is, what planet we're on anymore.
You're cracking up, man. Losing the plot? Flipping your lid? Misplacing your marbles? Falling apart? Freaking out?
I'm heading out.
Jameson says, fluttering his eyelids neurotically.
I'll be back in a couple of hours. Maybe then you'll be ready to talk like adults?
Ace sighs and nods.
Hey, if you're heading into town, there's this really nice African restaurant. Serves a lovely injera. Montgomery Road. Just down the street from a payphone.
Jameson just blankly stares at Ace.
You can't miss it.
Ace smiles. Now Jameson nods.
And you can tell Teferi and your feathered friend that I've already got a shadow.
He turns to leave as a news broadcast flashes on the laptop screen.
And tonight, we can confirm that there has been another gruesome update to the Ace murders case.
Jameson freezes. then turns to the screen. The news reporter holds her expression steady, but her tumultuous eyes give her away as she reads the teleprompter.
Teenager and huntress Kendra Jones, the online sensation who caused so much controversy by posting pictures of the animals she had killed on her Facebook page, has herself been killed in what local and overseas authorities are confirming to be another Ace-style execution. Miss Jones had been on a hunting trip in Kauai Concession, Zimbabwe, Africa. When she couldn't be reached on her mobile phone, friends reported her missing, and the local authorities began a search. Her remains were eventually found on the savannah, under a large tree several miles from her ranch. Upon further investigation, the authorities were able to confirm that she had been the victim of a deadly lion attack.
The screen flicks to an interview at the murder scene with a young man who looks like an African Freddie Mercury in electric blue coveralls, a clearly nervous crime scene investigator.
When we examine the remains more closely, particularly the bones, the markings and abrasions on the bone are consistent with the bite marks and teeth marks of a large carnivore. In this case, the number of different markings indicate that she was killed not by one lion, but many.
Back to the studio and the reporter.
The Commissioner of the Zimbabwe Republic Police Force, Augustine Chahuria, has made the following statement.
The screen flicks to a large, round, bespectacled police chief, kitted out in his royal blue and gold uniform and cap, standing at a press podium, with an African flag and a Zimbabwe flag displayed behind him.
We are confident in ruling out accidental death. A signature calling card was found amongst the remains of Miss Jones. Calling cards have been found at every Ace murder scene. This detail has so far gone unannounced by the Western authorities and media. These calling cards all have the same words, Iquenso Ocha, printed on them. We have been able to trace these words to a Nubian tribe here in Africa. Translated, it means white devil.
The screen flicks to a picture of Ace's calling card. One corner is stained with blood. The anchor continues her report.
The ZRP have officially released this picture of the calling card, which is being left at each murder scene, and we can now exclusively show you. When asked why this vital detail had been kept from the public, here at home, and the world's media, Deputy Director of the FBI, Mark Guerra, had this to say.
The screen changes to an irate-looking Guerra being interviewed outside the FBI headquarters in Washington.
We initially thought that due to the horrific nature of these murders, that certain details would be withheld to prevent unnecessary panic and to wean out the possibility of copycat killers or jokers sending us their own mocked-up cards. We can only confirm what the ZRP have unabashedly stated, and we are now working closely with them to investigate this tragic event, as well as the rest of the international community that have been targeted by the Ace cell. In light of the recent disclosed information by the ZRP, we can also confirm that there is a mastermind behind Ace who goes by the name The White Devil. Finding this so-called White Devil and his terrorist network is now top priority, and we will work tirelessly and ceaselessly until they are brought to justice. We do have a number of strong leads and lines of inquiry that we are investigating, and are confident in saying that we are closing in on Ace.
Like before, Guerra turns to face the camera.
However, we are still urging anyone with any information that can help us catch this devil and take down his terrorist organization to come forward as soon as possible. We are waiting to hear from you.
Like before, Jameson knows Guerra must be talking to him, personally. The screen changes again to the picture of the white calling card. The camera very slowly zooms into the words, Iquenso Ocha. The screen changes to that of businessmen in similar style and colour suits, parading themselves for the Associated Press, awkwardly smiling and shaking hands. They are outside a grand and prestigious building. The anchor reports.
As world leaders meet today in Japan to have their annual G8 summit, terrorism and the Ace organization are very much on the agenda. President Obama had this to say.
The screen changes to a dark, tall, handsome and charismatic man in a sharp Air Force blue suit, without a tie, and with the top button of his pastel yellow shirt casually unfastened. He has a confident, not too far away from arrogant, swagger in his mannerisms.
Obviously, today's summit has a strong agenda, and counterterrorism will be highly regarded on that agenda. My heart goes out to the Jones family at this sensitive time, and I'd like to reassure them, the people of the United States and the rest of the world, that we are using our combined forces to bring organizations like ACE to justice.
The reporter talks over the footage.
And the UK's Prime Minister, David Cameron, also gave a similar statement.
The screen changes to a flushed and pompous-looking man in a formal navy blue suit and pig-pink tie.
The United Kingdom, as well as, I'm sure, all of the countries attending the summit today, opposed to terrorism and extremism, have an iron determination to destroy organizations like ACE and vow to hunt down those responsible for the terrorist act in Scotland and indeed the rest of the world and bring them to justice, no matter how long it takes.
And what about your own state-sponsored terrorism, Davy boy?
Ace yells at the screen.
But no, that's good old British peace and freedom-loving terrorism. They spend millions on weapons of mass destruction, engage in perpetual war, shooting and bombing their way across the globe, until the bloody mad cows come home. And all to further their own ideals of capitalism and financial imperialism. And they've got the nerve to call us extremists?
Jameson finds himself nodding at Ace's logic. The screen changes to an outside view of the hunting ranch where Kendra Jones had been staying.
With hunting ranches all across the world on high alert, and bookings and hunt attendance at an all-time low, Ace's methods may be extreme, but they are proving, in this case, to be effective.
Ace laughs manically. The screen changes again, this time to a tactful shot of a pride of lions hunting zebra on a beautiful savannah in Africa.
Kendra Jones is now the 7th victim of the terrorist group known as ACE, who we now know to be taking responsibility for these crimes by leaving a chilling calling card with the words "White Devil" printed on it at each murder scene. Who is this mastermind, the White Devil? With each event being linked to animal rights activism, and some people already using the term extreme eco-terrorism, one has to question what kind of political or social statement ACE are trying to make when they engage in acts of terrorism and murder. Only time will tell. But in the meantime, ACE are still operating, presumably planning their next attack, and with no destination out of reach, and with the police still appealing for help. The question on the world's lips, as we all look over our shoulder, is who is next?
Ace stretches a Grinch-like grin across his face.
My. They are getting fired up, aren't they? Oh, they'll toe the current line of moral programming when the time comes. But you've got to love the media, just for the free promotion alone.
They're promoting you as a terrorist. It's not exactly cause for celebration. Aren't you in the least bit concerned that the FBI are coming for you?
Ace sniggers.
Oh no, it's the feds! Look out! The feds are coming!
He cries, feigning panic, but there is a flash of anger in his eyes. He looks Jameson up and down.
The feds?
He says disdainfully. Jameson holds Ace's glare.
They should be called the FBC. Federal Bureau of Corruption. Or the FBR. Federal Bureau of Racketeering. Founded by a paranoid homophobe? Hypocrites. Anything with the word federal before it stinks of filthy corruption to me. Federal government. Federal Reserve. Federal Bureau of...
Okay, so they're not perfect.
They're inconsequential. They'll catch me. Or they won't. It doesn't matter. Jesus, you're such a dummy guy.
Don't you see what that really matters is the ideals that we fight for are already pouring out into the consciousness of the human race?
It's all about the consciousness, baby. I've been looking at the opinion polls. Despite the FBI and the media's definitions of terrorism, which, by the way, is a relative term.
Jameson opens his mouth to protest.
People,
Ace continues,
are actively discussing ACE and debating its methods and its intentions and its philosophy. We currently have more cells around the world than I'm actually aware of. Penny was contacted over our secure server from a brand spanking new Russian cell just last night. She's already given them assignments.
Jameson looks surprised.
Why do you think everything went so smoothly in Africa?
Ace says, seeing the doubt in Jameson's eyes.
And in Canada? Scotland before that. We have people everywhere. Recruitment levels are up. We're actually gaining public support.
Jameson cannot quite believe his ears, and his dubious expression reveals his skepticism.
Take a look at the polls yourself.
He says, gesturing a hand to the laptop.
The numbers are all there. Polls from various news channels, trending social blogs, as well as a couple of official government polls too. Activism is on the increase. Veganism is on the increase. Marine parks and circuses are losing business. Now we would rather set the lions and the orcas free from their slavery than have them do tricks for a morsel. People are working out what we, Ace, are doing here. I have my doubts about our species, but every now and then they surprise me. It may be a painfully slow process, but people are actually waking up.
Jameson studies the information on the screen for a short while. It seems to, somewhat, corroborate what Ace is saying.
Jesus. People are waking up? All this shows is that people are just as mad as you are.
He gets a strong urge to leave. He needs out of there, away from that place, away from Ace's manipulating madness and all the death. He needs the anonymity and isolation of the city, to blend in and disappear, find a quiet place, phone his wife. It has been so long since he has heard her voice. He tries to picture her, but he is disturbed to see Penny's face smiling back at him. He shakes his head and the image away, and as much as he would rather not, he knows he will also have to call Black, to share the new intel, but more so to find out what Black has uncovered about Ace, his background, history, anything that might help draw this case to a swifter conclusion. He cannot decide what to report regarding his time in Africa. If push comes to shove, he could argue that Kendra Jones's death was an accident, albeit a horribly tragic one. But there has been no mention of the abattoir manager, Ankra, on the news. Not yet. Jameson doesn't know if he will mention Ankra at all, let alone his direct involvement in Ankra's murder.
To hell with this! Hell!
He states abruptly.
I'm leaving.
He turns and makes for the steps to take him off the platform.
Be careful out there, kid.
Ace says. Jameson does not respond. He just keeps walking.
You're a wanted terrorist now too, remember?